Hey everyone, this is Captain Maureen Krebs. I'm out here with Corporal Karissa Tanguay-Jones. We're here aboard Marine Corps Recruit Depot San Diego, and I'm from Marine Corps Recruiting Command. We'll be spending the next few minutes talking to you all, answering some questions about what it's like to be a Marine, what you have to do to become a Marine, and Corporal Tanguay-Jones will be answering your questions as we've moved forward. So we ask, if you do have questions about how you become a Marine or what it's like to be a Marine, what it's like to be a crew chief on an MV-22 Osprey, feel free to put those questions in the comments below and we'll answer them for you as we move forward. So something that we have in the Marine Corps, especially Marine Corps Recruiting Command, is we've got a hashtag. If you're on Facebook right now, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Twitter, type in hashtag #WhyTheMarines. We use this hashtag to find out, why people wanted to join the Marine Corps, and they tell their stories. So that's what we're here to do today with Corporal Tangy. And so my first question to her would be, why did you join the Marine Corps?
Well, after high school, I tried a semester of college, mostly because I felt like it was what everyone expected me to do. Kind of lost my way, didn't really know where I was going in life, and I decided to join the military. Figured I could get that structure in my life that I didn't have growing up, and some discipline in myself, and a safe way to get on my own 2 feet as well. So I always have food and a shelter over my head. And the Marine Corps was exactly what I needed to do that. They gave me the courage, they gave me confidence, they gave me discipline, they gave me everything I was looking for.
So would you say that the Marine Corps transformed you into the young woman you are today?
Oh, definitely. The Marine Corps that.
And so you are a crew chief for MV-22 Ospreys. She's located at Marine Corps Air Station Camp Pendleton with Marine Medium Tilt Rotor Squadron 164, which is part of the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing. And she's been there for about a year as a crew chief. She's been in the Marine Corps for 3 years. So can you tell everyone a little bit about what it's like to be a crew chief? Maybe why did you decide to become a crew chief in the first place? And where you are right now, a little bit about your daily experience being a crew chief.
Well, I actually didn't know I was going to be a crew chief at first. I kind of got lucky with the job, and I love the job. I wanted to be a Marine, is what drew me to joining, is just being a Marine to begin with. And then I found out, actually, in my first schoolhouse after Marine combat training, that I was going to be flying, and I was pretty excited about that, which was really cool. You don't really find out what platform you are until after your first school in Pensacola, which is the Naval Aircrew Candidate School. You have to go through the whole swim qualification and make sure that you're medically prepared to fly.
Absolutely.
But it's a great time. Like, I have a lot of fun with it. It's never the same. Every day is different. Your hours are always different. I could fly a night flight one day and then fly a day flight the next day. You do have crew rest in between, but you can have 8 hours off or 12 hours off as crew rest in between flights. So it's always busy. It's always go, 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 and I have a great time with it.
And so you are a crew chief, but you also have a secondary military occupational specialty. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so days that I don't fly, I actually work as a mechanic on the bird. So as one of my schoolings, I had to go through mechanical school before I could go through flight school and actually learn my flying side of the job. So I will drop engines, change gearboxes. That's what Flightline, which is my shop, does.
Okay, so you get your hands a little dirty.
Just a little bit.
Your hands are a little dirty right now.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Just came from work.
Absolutely. So yesterday we talked a little bit. She and I had a discussion yesterday, a great discussion. She was flying on Monday.
Yes.
Monday. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience Monday?
Monday night, we did a troop insertion into a hostile area. It was a training exercise. It was just around the Camp Pendleton base, and we picked them up at the pickup zone, the PZ, and then we inserted them into the landing zone, the LZ. And it was just a simple 42 troops, 42 troops were inserted into the LZ by 2 V-22 Ospreys. So
how long did that take?
It was a 4-hour flight because we had to stop and refuel after the 3rd wave. It was 4 waves of Marines, about 18 Marines each wave, and it was just with gas and everything, it takes some time to fuel up and get all the Marines on board as well and off board.
Absolutely, absolutely. Supporting the Marines on the ground. That's
yes.
what you guys do on a daily basis.
And then go home to my nice warm bed.
Absolutely. Most important job, supporting those Marines on the ground. Now, we did have some questions come in before this live session was happening, and I did want to ask you, when you go up in that aircraft, the first time that you actually were flying in an Osprey, what did that feel like?
Oh, it was amazing. I knew nothing of what I was doing, but that was part of learning, part of the schoolhouse. but I had a blast. It was an adrenaline rush. It was exciting and new, and got to stick your head out the window at 200 feet. It was more than I can explain. It's something you have to experience to really know.
Absolutely. And our viewer, Daniel Molina, asked that question, what is it like being in an Osprey? And Daniel, I'll tell you, if you want to know what it's like, you can become a crew chief like Corporal Tangy. You can become a pilot as well. So, find your local recruiter and talk to them if you're really interested in it. We did have another question from Erin Robertson. She asked, as a Marine Corps picker, and wanting to be a crew chief, as a Marine Corps poolie and wanting to be a crew chief, what MOS should I choose to end up as a crew chief?
So don't completely quote me on this. I believe the MOS that you'll need is a 8972. That's an aircrew training MOS, and then in Pensacola is when you'll actually get your platform MOS, which is a different one. So right now, as a V-22, my MOS is a 6176. So, but I started off with an 8972 until I graduated the flight schoolhouse.
Okay, and speaking of the training that you did, and as you went through that pipeline, can you give us an idea of what it was like to become a crew chief? What kind of training did you go through while you were in Pensacola?
It was about 1.5 years of training, including boot camp and Marine Corps combat training as well, which everyone goes through first. Pensacola was the swim qual. If you can swim, it's pretty simple. If you're good with being flipped upside down in water and not being able to see, you're good. It's actually kind of fun. I had fun with that part because I love the water. The helo dunker.
The helo dunker, yeah.
That was my favorite part, and we call that Disney Week down there. And then we have SEER school after Pensacola, which is survive, evade, resist, escape training. That's something that people have to experience on their own.
Absolutely.
And then after that, we go to our mechanical school and then our flight school. So it's all together added up to just over 1.5 years of training for me to actually get to the fleet and be a crew chief.
And you've been at VMM 164 for about 1 year now?
Just over 8. I believe 1.5 years now.
Okay. That's great. Now we've got a few more questions coming in. Mikkel Twitchell, he did ask, was it hard to pass the reconnaissance course? Neither of us can answer that question. We didn't go through that training, but Corporal Tangy did just say that she went through SEER school, and she can talk a tiny bit about that. There's not much we can say about it, but if you want to just say really quick anything about your training at SEER school.
It's something I never want to do again, but I had a great time with it. You learn a lot. You learn how strong you are in that, for sure, and it pushes you to the limits, I think, a little more than boot camp does. So I had fun with it, but would never want to go back.
Absolutely. Good training, though.
Yes, very great training.
Now, for someone who wanted to become a crew chief, what kind of advice would you give them if, whether they're a poolie, whether they're a kid sitting in high school, maybe they're in college, maybe it's someone who has an interest in aviation in general. What advice would you give them if they really, really wanted to become a crew chief?
Don't break any bones anytime soon. Just make sure your PT is good to go before you join. Pensacola will push you to your max PT. You'll swim for 2.5 hours a day and then PT for 2 hours a day. So you'll definitely get drained from that. I know I got home from that and I would pass out right away and just reset for the next day. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid of the water. If you are, start getting in that pool now and getting comfortable being in the water, getting comfortable being upside down in the water. And as long as you're not afraid of heights, you'll do just fine. And start talking to somebody now. See what you have to do to get that MOS. They're few and far between, especially for females. Not very many females get through because of the hard training. So
you're the only female crew chief in your squadron, correct?
That I am.
Yes.
We have aerial observers, which are mechanics that started the flight syllabus, mm-hmm. but they did not go through the entire schooling that I did, and they can only go so far with it, whereas I can get all the instructor calls, and they cannot.
Great. Well, we do have some more questions coming in right now. We're following the feed live on Facebook, and if you just joined, we're talking to Corporal Tanguay-Jones here. She's a crew chief with VMM 164, and we've got a question from Yuma, and she says, I'm a girl, and I've always wanted to be a Marine, but people tell me I can't because I'm a girl. What advice do you have for someone who wants to be a Marine? And I'll just say, Yuma, you're talking to 2 female Marines right here, so there is no can't. I will say, do or do not, there is no try. So I'll let Corporal Tangy jump in and say, what advice do you have for Yuma if she does want to become a Marine?
You only can't if you tell yourself you can't. You can. If you tell yourself you can, you can. There's plenty of female Marines, and you just got to work hard at it, and don't listen to anybody else. Do what you believe you can do. That's what I would say. Just follow your heart.
Absolutely. We do have another question from Charlie. He asked, what's your favorite cadence song?
I haven't done cadences in a couple years.
We're right here on the Recruit Depot in San Diego. There's a lot of cadences going on a regular basis.
Yeah, I haven't marched since boot camp or MCT, to be honest, so I don't really remember very many of them, so I can't answer that. I'm sorry about that.
So Charlie, if you are a Marine, we'd love for you to reply in the comments with your favorite cadence song. And if you're not a Marine, you can join, and then you get to hear them all on a regular basis while you're at boot camp.
There you go.
Jessica asked, what has been the proudest moment of your career?
I think my proudest moment was in 204, Marine Medium Tilt Rotor Squadron 204, which is the flight school that I had to go through. I graduated at the top of my class, and I was the first one in over a year to get a meritorious mass, which is good paperwork on you. Looks good for re-enlistments, for promotions, things like that. So that was my proudest moment, is that I outdid my entire class of males, and I was the top of my class.
That's great. And you, being the only woman crew chief in your squadron is obviously probably puts a lot of pressure on your shoulders to perform well, and stand out and do good things. And I think we were talking a little bit, you said, during your training, you realized how much work it takes, how much time you have to put in, and how much effort you have to put in to really succeed. Can you talk a little bit about that turning point and what that did for you as a Marine as well?
I proved to myself that I could do anything I set my mind to, and that no matter what anybody was saying I could or couldn't do, it didn't matter. In the end, it was what I believed and what I pushed myself to do, and so all my success comes from me pushing myself. It doesn't matter if somebody says, oh, she's just a female, she can't do it. Well, I'll just prove them wrong. That's what you got to do, is just step back up and prove them wrong. And now I don't have that problem in my squadron. They're my brothers. I'm very close
Absolutely.
with all of them. I've been with them for over a year now. We have mutual respect for everybody, and we all work equally as hard to do our job the right way and make it home safe every day. So that initial start is definitely hard to get over that bump, because there's a stereotype to female Marines, and I believe that stereotype's waned down quite a bit as well. It's not as prominent anymore, and it's not as hard to overcome.
Absolutely. And you talked a little bit about your brothers and sisters in the Marine Corps, and I know you guys are preparing for a deployment here. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing and when you're going to deploy with VMM 164?
We're supposed to deploy this spring. It's the first deployment for this unit as V-22 Ospreys, so everyone's pretty excited. A lot of the people have not deployed yet. I myself have not deployed yet. Like I said, I've only been here for a year and a half. We're doing a lot of training. We're doing a lot of ground threat reaction. Sorry, I'm trying to think out the acronym. So used to saying the acronym. Ground threat reaction flights, tail gunnery flights, getting ready for troop transports, things like that.
Great. So you guys will be prepared come springtime when you go.
Yes, we will.
Great. Now we do have some other questions coming in. Kagan asked, as a senior in high school, what can I do to prepare for boot camp? What exercises do you think would benefit me the most?
Make sure you get your pull-ups up. That is a big thing. Pull-ups are going, I believe, went up to 23 pull-ups for males this year, and it's, for me at age 21, it's 9 pull-ups. So females have to do pull-ups now. You can opt out to do push-ups, but you only get 75 points, I believe, for push-ups. So I would build up your pull-ups. Make sure you get those run time. Build up your run time. Make sure you can run 3 miles. I know you only need 1.5 miles to initially start boot camp, but I would start that 3 miles and getting that 3 miles on point now, because in boot camp you'll get better at that 3 miles. I dropped a minute by the end of my boot camp on my final PFT. Yeah,
and we do have a few more questions coming in about boot camp. A few people, I think, who are poolies right now who are getting ready to go, or they've got about a year until their ship date. A few of them are asking questions. We've got one from Ariel who said, what advice do you have for poolies leaving for boot camp? And then Keaton just asked, I've got just shy of a year until my ship date. What should I be focusing on? You know, I'll jump in here and say if you're getting ready to go, you should probably be doing all the pool PT that you can with your recruiting station that you're working out of. So get out there and PT with those recruiters, PT with those other poolies as much as possible, because they will prepare you. They know what you need to be doing to prepare. But I'll let Corporal Tangy jump in here and say, you know, if you've got a year till you're shipping off to boot camp, what would you do?
I'd say that was the best thing that you could do is work with your recruiters. Do the workouts that they have, the PT sessions. That's what I did until my ship date. They got my IST.
Initial strength test.
Initial strength test. Run time down 3 minutes before I left for boot camp. So they know what you need to do. They can help you. But the recruiters will be the biggest ones you go to for that.
Absolutely. We did have another question from Justin. He said, how did your parents feel when you told them you wanted to be a Marine? I know we talked a little bit about this. So can you tell the audience, I know that's a big thing, you know, especially if someone's in high school and they're 17 years old and they've got to get their parents to consent to them joining the Marine Corps. It's a hard thing to do, and we are the most challenging branch out of all the services. So how did your parents feel?
My dad and my mom didn't like the fact that I was going to be a Marine. My dad was very supportive. My mom was a little hurt by the fact that I just kind of decided to do it without her opinion. I grew up asking her opinion on everything, and then one day I just decided to join the Marine Corps, and I didn't ask her. I just did it, and so she was hurt about it, but now she's proud of me. She sees that it was the right move for me. I mean, maybe it wasn't something she would have chosen for me, but she sees that I'm happy with my life, and I feel successful, and
Absolutely.
I feel pride in myself, you know, and I've done something with my life, so she's very supportive now. Both of them still don't like the fact that I'm a Marine, because it's a risky job. It's never going to not be risky, but they're very supportive.
Every day you go up in that aircraft.
Every day.
Absolutely. Sean did just ask, you know, why did you choose the Marines over other branches? Why did you?
I liked the courage and the confidence that Marines had. You know, I didn't see in the other branches. Marines are just presentable. You know, we're known for being the best of the best for a reason, right?
Absolutely.
The few, the proud is a quote for a reason.
Absolutely.
So.
And you grew up in Colorado.
I did,
correct?
yes.
A small town in Colorado.
Fairly small.
Fairly small. And you did you only go to the Marine Corps recruiter, or did you go to the other services as well?
No, I actually went to Air Force, and I went to Navy as well. I originally wanted to go Navy for rescue swimming, and then I just got tied into the Marine Corps. I sat down with them for 2.5 hours, and my heart was set right then. So.
Great. And I think we've got a few questions, not only about the different branches, but different aircraft. And so Aaron, it looks like, asked, what's better, the V-22 or the CH-46?
I couldn't answer that one.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't fly on the CH-46. You ask anybody who flew on it, they say frogs forever. So you'd have to ask somebody who actually flew on both of them. Most people will say the 46s over the 22s, but I mean, I'm going to be partial to the 22s because you're biased to the 22s because that's all I've ever flown on.
And your squadron, the Night Riders, so VMM 164, used to be a CH-46 squadron.
Yes, they used to be the training squadron, so they were the last ones to actually transition to the 22s. So we still have a bunch of people in my unit that are prior 46 guys and don't like the aircraft.
And they're in the process of transitioning right now.
They've all transitioned now, but they prefer the 46s. I love it.
What do you love about the aircraft?
I just love flying. It's an adrenaline rush every day. And it's kind of like, it's a really safe aircraft. Generally everybody comes by safe. You have your mishaps here and there. It's just natural with a military aircraft, right? But so you never know if you're coming back or not, right? Mm-hmm. You have that in the back of your head every day. But it's a great time feeling the wind running through your hair as you're calling it down to the deck, and I don't know. I have a blast with it.
Absolutely. Well, and you guys do the training, like you said. You've got your brothers and your sisters there, and you do the training that's needed to make sure that you guys are fully prepared at all times. Absolutely. Madison just asked, what's been the biggest challenge you've overcome as a Marine? So since you've decided to put on this uniform and take that step, what has been your biggest challenge?
Following rules. I will say that was one of my biggest challenges. I grew up being home alone from middle school to high school quite a bit. My mom was single mother working So I kind of did what I wanted after school most of the time, and getting in, you have a lot of rules set for you, and you have to follow them exactly, and that was definitely a big eye-opener for me.
Discipline.
The discipline, yes.
Yeah,
getting that discipline.
But now you feel like you've transformed, and you've got that internal discipline.
Most definitely, yes.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see that. I can see that. Zach just asked, why did you choose the V-22? Now, did you get to choose that airframe, or did they choose it for you?
I did not. We get to make a wish list. Doesn't necessarily mean our wish list is followed. I would have gotten Hueys if I could have.
Okay.
But there was no Huey spots open when I had graduated and was supposed to go to my next schoolhouse. So in Pensacola, they just you get the luck of the draw. If you get lucky with what you want, then you can get what you want. If not, make the best of it, because they're all fun.
Yeah.
They all have their own ups and downs, just like anything else.
Absolutely, and they're all out there for a specific mission and supporting the Marines on the ground, providing that close air support or transport as needed. So Jewel did ask, did you go into the Marines wanting a specific MOS? So when you went to that recruiter, did you say you wanted anything in particular, or did you just want to become a Marine?
I just wanted to be a Marine. I just loved everything the Marines stand for, and the courage and the pride and the honor and everything that they had.
Absolutely. Now you, there's something really cool about you that's coming up as well. Can you tell us a little bit about, maybe why you're here, why we're doing this interview, and something big that's on the horizon for the Marine Corps?
Yes, actually I'm going to be in the new Marine Corps recruiting commercial that's airing on February 4th. It's a nation's
During the
call.
Super Bowl.
During the Super Bowl, yes. I'm pretty excited for it. It'll be really cool. You'll see me in the back of the aircraft with a .50 caliber gun, and it's pretty awesome. And there's a bunch of other Marines in there, and come check us out. That'll be cool.
So during the Super Bowl, go ahead and watch that live stream on NBC. It'll be online, and you can catch it. I think it's going to air probably in the first half and the second half. So catch the new commercial there, and you'll see Corporal Tanguay-Jones, and you'll see our Marines doing some great things doing in the latest commercial. And, if you do have any other questions, we ask that you write it in the comments. We ask that you maybe send a direct message to Marine Corps Recruiting Command's Instagram, their Facebook, their Twitter, whatever it may be, to get your questions answered. If you need to know anything about the Marine Corps, if you're interested in joining. And I will say, too, that if you are interested in joining the Marine Corps, don't hesitate to go find your local recruiter. Go find them, go talk to them. That's exactly what Corporal Tanguay-Jones did to start her journey to become a Marine. That's what we all do to take that first step. So go talk to them, and you can also go to Marines.com to find out any more information. We really appreciate you signing in here, listening to her story, and then on February 4th, watch that Super Bowl, and you'll see the newest Marine Corps commercial. Thank you, everyone, and Semper Fidelis.